I had been reading a lot about DXM online, and so decided to try it one night. After reading about many different drugs, I knew somewhat how to prepare myself. I made sure to have a good day, and not to fight with my parents. I meditated shortly before The Simpsons, clearing my head, and decided that I had had an excellent day. I believe that any and every high is half mental, and with the right attitude, I find that I can make the weakest high become as good as any. After watching The Simpsons, a very funny episode that put me in an even better mood, which ended at 8 o'clock, I immediately consumed 1¼ bottles of Robitussin Maximum Strength. I retired to my bedroom to read The Beach, and await the experience. At about 8:40, I started to feel a grass-like buzz, and decided I would stop reading and just lay on my bed. I turned all my lights off, and laid still in the darkness. On my stereo played The Doors. Ironically, The trippiest song ever was playing as my trip began. It was 8:45 and my ceiling began turning different shades of black. It would lighten, almost to white, and then go to gray and eventually to black again. I put my hand up in front of my face and saw it light up, and then become engulfed in shadows. I gathered my wits enough to call my friend Steven, who I asked to help me out with the experience. Motion had a very special effect, and as I picked myself up to dial, I was shocked out how much I liked it. From that point on, I was rolling in my bed almost the entire time. I talked to Steve for a while, telling him how I felt. I lost my perception of time. I told him I thought we had been talking for an hour, and in truth it was only 10 minutes. At this point, 8:55, I noticed my door. Around the outside of my door frame was a very bright light, like a fluorescent light. It was continuous and traveled around the entire frame of my door. In the middle of it was very dark. It seemed my door had turned into a portal. I looked into the portal, but it was too foggy to see, like a mixture of black and gray. This intrigued me, but I got distracted by Steve, and a friend we had called on three-way. It was then that I brought my attention back to my door. The light around it had slightly diminished. I wondered why, but as I gazed towards the portal, I understood. In the middle was the blackest thing I had ever seen, similar to a black hole. I quickly stopped rolling in my bed and stayed silent until Steven queried me. "Steve, my friend," I said, "I'm staring into the infinite darkness." I stared deep into the void, and everything around it disappeared. It was intensely beautiful, and for a moment, nothing even existed aside from myself and the darkness. I then saw two red eyes glowing at me. I was horribly afraid, and decided to turn away. I was sorry to do it, but it was more instinct than anything. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to reproduce the feeling quite as strongly as this one time. I started talking to Steve again, and we tried to call another friend, who unfortunately was not home. We just sat and talked and laughed a bit. I felt as if the phone had suddenly become huge. The end in which I talked was so large that I could lay on it, and the handle had stretched enough to let me listen and talk at the same time. I felt that everything in my room was a mile away, and I had suddenly shrunk. This was highly pleasant. It wasn't actually a hallucination, more like a strong daydream. It was about 10:20 when Steve and I hung up. My father called me downstairs to help me move a refrigerator. When I got up to walk, I felt very drunk. I stumbled in the darkness, and broke through the portal, out into the hallway. I had been very afraid of going through the portal, but as I blindly stumbled, I slipped right through it. I fell down a few stairs and started to giggle. I got up, and found that by opening my eyes wide, I could walk straight for a little while. I walked down and helped my father. The refrigerator was on wheels, so I had little trouble, and then went back upstairs. I got into my bed for some introspection and meditation. I got up, to see how well I could control my walking. With concentration, I could walk straight for a full minute, as timed on my clock radio. When I did not concentrate, I swaggered wildly. And when I just let go of myself, I began bumping into walls and falling numerous times. It was fun, but I didn't want my parents to see me. I went back to my room and laid on my bed. I fell asleep at about 11:30, as I was very tired from soccer earlier. I had some visions while I was asleep, of things that had happened previously. I was thinking of the infinite darkness when my mom woke me for school. I showered and had a cup of black coffee, which helped to wake me up. I was very groggy, and if I let myself go, I even felt dizzy. I got to the train station and smoked a strong unfiltered cigarette, which significantly cleared my head. I felt much better, and could not wait to tell my friends of my night. My experience was highly enjoyable. I went into it with a good mindset, and came away with a great experience. The only aftereffect was my exhaustion, which gradually receded over the school day.